Welcome to episode 3 of my Life is Strange analysis. We're going to go into excruciating detail. Let's go ahead. We're moving on from the first set of people that you can talk to into the second set. This is still an extension of the playground. We're still learning how our power feels to control. And once again, it's a circular arrangement. One thing that is interesting to note about this particular location is the construction rig over the door there. Samuel is going to paint, and he set up this giant rig. Obviously, this is a lead into the puzzle, but I just want to point out that setting up your levels or your stages or your scenes with actual stuff that characters are doing, interacting with the level itself, is very powerful, even if it's something small like this. You don't want the player to feel like your entire town is made out of stamped out box houses or whatever. You can give your towns or your cities or your buildings or your dungeons or whatever, spaceships, you can give them a sense of life by making the locals interact with the setting itself.
If I told Warren what's going on, would he laugh?
This is also arguably the weakest point in the first half of the game. And I know that at least two people I know stopped playing the game here. Then maybe they went back to it later, but they couldn't get past this part. Not because it's hard, but because it's incredibly stupid. Just the dumbest. The next chain of puzzles is mind-bogglingly badly thought out. First, let's talk to Alyssa. She's my favorite character.
Oh. Hi, Max.
How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm by myself reading Chicklet.
As you might have guessed,
Pretty
she's
soon
the
I'll be
same
bonding
voice
with
actress as
Victoria
half a
at the
dozen
Vortex
other
Club.
female
I think
characters,
you're better off reading
and
Good
she's
point.
trying not to let you
Now
know.
if you'll excuse me.
My favorite thing about Alyssa here is that we save her from getting hit by various pieces of debris a lot throughout this game. And she keeps saying that we're saving her from getting bullied. It's never, ever someone trying to bully her. She's just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I thought that was really, really fun. The idea that she thinks she's being bullied and we're some sort of savior, but really, she's just got really bad luck. And we can talk to our friend over here, but this one is optional. It doesn't help or hurt.
Hi, Kate.
Hey, Max.
But in case you forgot, this is the character that we need to save
You look down.
or let die. It's the big
You
choice
okay?
we're allowed to
I'm
make.
kind of over humanity today. Sorry to be a drama queen.
Is there anything...
Max, I'd like to be alone if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
This is Samuel. Samuel is definitely the creepiest character in the game in the funniest way because he's absolutely the most
Howdy,
harmless
Samuel.
character in the game.
Well, hello there.
Hello there. So we're either allowed to ask about Rachel Amber or say that he looks busy.
You look busy, Samuel.
I'm always up to something. Today it's sweeping, then painting windows.
With
Just
blood.
don't paint over the posters for Rachel Amber.
Oh look, we're
You
talking about her
can't color
anyway.
over that sunlight.
Let's see, we can talk about Rachel Amber a lot or just ditch him.
See you later, Samuel.
And watch your step around here, Max. After I sweep, I paint.
Now, as creepy as that particular conversation is, he's actually telling you flat out what you need to do in order to beat this puzzle. We haven't actually gotten involved in the puzzle yet. Let's go ahead and get involved in this incredibly deep and mesmerizing puzzle for the ages.
Oh, look, it's Max Caulfield, the selfie hoe of Blackwell.
Now, Victoria, at this stage,
What a lame
all we
gimmick.
really know is that she's
Even
been
Mark,
kind of
Mr.
mean to us,
Jefferson,
and
fell
she's
for your
jealous that
wicked
Jefferson
bullshit.
likes us. This is all really good
Litigarian process,
conversation,
sir.
though.
You could barely even say that. I guess you got
If
me
you
mixed
notice, there's
up.
some blocking going on, and there's also both character growth and some reinforcement
all the
of things that
answers,
we're going to
I
need
guess
to
you have
know.
to find another way
At this
into the
stage,
door.
we're really
We
learning
don't
that
know.
Jefferson probably is more
wait.
than just the
Oh,
first
that
teacher
goes.
we happened to meet. And now here she threatens
So
to put up
original. Don't worry,
a
Max.
photo of us
I'll
on
put
a
a
social
filter
network.
on it right before
We
I
certainly don't
post
want a
it all
photo
over
of us on a social
medias.
network.
No. Why don't you go fuck
Especially not
yourselfie?
a picture of us
yes, Victoria.
taken from
I'll get your
below
bony ass out of my way.
with the sunset and beautiful trees and mountains behind us. What a horrible picture that would be. I would be just embarrassed to have that uploaded to social medias. So, quite frankly, Victoria is the least effective bully I have seen in a game in a long, long time. We're supposed to hate her, but she's just kind of completely unhateable. She's not likable, but she's so inoffensively mean. Like, go fucky yourselfie. If we wanted to walk by her and go to the door, I would not feel threatened at all. There's zero chance that Victoria or her goons would actually hurt us in any way. I've let this run because you have to let it run in order to actually trigger it, so that's what I've done. Now that we have seen Samuel do the paint, it's time for us to actually set this up. And to set it up, we have to tamper with the bucket and then turn on the sprinklers. We have to do both of these things. We can't do just one or the other.
Let's see if this works.
The problem is that these things are incredibly mean, and Victoria just flat out doesn't deserve to be this badly abused at this stage.
Are you kidding?
We do find out that
Victoria, it's
she's
just
pretty
water.
horrible. She's a horrible person,
Water on my
but we don't
cashier?
know that at
Do you
this
know how much this
stage.
fucking outfit costs? You look great. I can't even chill on the steps.
And this is where one of the people that I knew stopped playing. The other one stopped playing in the next set of puzzles.
No way! No fucking
You okay,
way!
Victoria?
Oh, Sam.
It should be noted, she still has
paint's
paint
not
on
good
her
for hair, no.
tomorrow.
Get the hell away from me, weirdo!
Hold on. We'll get some towels. We'll be right back.
So move your ass before I drive.
It worked. Don't mess with Max, bitches.
Yeah, that was totally justified. The weird thing is that this would have felt perfectly natural if we learned any of the things that we learn about Victoria starting 2 minutes from now. But with what we know about her right now, we seem incredibly mean, which might be the reason why like 97% of people
Hey,
chose
What
to
do you want,
comfort her.
Max?
It's a particular choice. It just,
I am
nobody
sorry.
wanted,
That's
everyone knows that we went overboard here as far as I can tell.
It was. But there'll be another.
Once
Well,
again,
you
Max
always seem to
kind
have
of
had
is a
Victoria
poser
outfits.
and just tries to say the right things to
I do
get
have
her to
some
be
talent.
to like
Mr.
to like us.
Jefferson told me.
I've seen your pictures. You have a great eye. Richard Avedon-esque.
He's one of my heroes. Thanks, Max. I hope those sluts get me a towel before they hang a sign on me.
How exciting.
You deserve a better shot. Sorry about blocking you and the go fuck yourselfie.
That was mean, but pretty funny.
Just one of those days, you know?
I know
The
exactly what you
artificiality
mean,
of this
Victoria.
exchange
I'll see you
is
later.
really bad, and I think the game could have probably handled this a lot better. It's bad when you
Victoria
lose
probably
players,
played me.
so
I should have played.
be careful when you come up with something incredibly dumb. If players tell you that it's incredibly dumb, trust them. We're gonna see Victoria's buddies run by us soon, and they leave Victoria's door open. And that's a nice touch. Victoria just didn't randomly leave her door
Victoria is going
open.
to be pissed we took so long.
It got left open by her stooges. I really love this hall. This hall is an extremely good, extremely well-designed set. And let me go ahead and go into some detail about it. There is one bright window on that side of the hall, but the other side of the hall is a door. Most people who design halls, the first time they design a hall like this, they'd put a door on the far side. That makes it a little bit difficult to tell which side is which. But with a window on that far side, we can immediately tell which side is out and which side is in. Moreover, the window is a bright pull forward, drawing us away from the door. It's really well done. They've got this T-shape with this other window here.
Just get to your room and grab Warren's flash drive.
One of the things you may not have realized, I think that nobody really realized this, these windows have an extremely soft light source that's very unrealistic. If you remember in our classroom, the afternoon sun was coming through and it was cutting bright patches on the floor. Now, this soft light doesn't really make any sense given what we know of the situation, but it lets the hall look the way people want it to look. If it was realistic, then these windows would be casting slanted shadows across the wall, and they wouldn't be casting near enough light for us to be able to see. Now, at this stage, we might not even realize what's going on here. I think a lot of players don't really know why Max has decided to scribble this out and draw a random peace sign. The fact is that Max knows a lot of things we don't know, especially at this stage. This is Kate's room. Kate, the friend that we don't know we have. And Max knows what's happened to Kate. And Max knows why the board is like that, and Max knows that she wants to fix the board. But we have no idea, and sort of randomly clicking on every single one of the slates, you're unlikely to realize that, so... Interesting. The game does reward exploration by giving out these kinds of optional facts, but it's still an interesting choice to me that they downplayed Kate so much, and I think they wanted to make Max feel more alone so that Chloe would feel like a really huge step up. Otherwise, we'd be too attached to Kate. This is Victoria's room. We're not allowed to go in yet because we don't have a reason to. This is Max's room. We don't actually see it much. There's not a whole lot to do in here, but you can take photos and stuff. Now, you do wake up in Max's room most days, but it's very rare that you find that this is something that you really want to interact with. Here we see that there are some hints that we might have our mom drawn into this game, but she never arrives. This is the excuse for the player to learn more about Max the character. We've learned her characterization. We know who she is. We've seen what she's like before she gets her power. We've seen how she's starting to grow into her power by being a total poser. And at this stage, we can start to look at her backgrounds and the sorts of things she's done before and the sort of life she used to lead, without having to actually live it, because it's not a terribly fun life. Oh yeah, there is a plant that we can water.
You are thirsty. I'm the worst baby mama. Drink up.
Memes.
Daniel has so much.
Blah, blah,
Lauren
blah.
makes me laugh. It's nice
Meant
to
to
feel
look
like
at
I
the
already
note.
made a real. Looks like Dana left me a little post-it note. Great. Now I have to go get the flash drive from Dana's room.
There's also another quiet moment we're allowed to have here, if we want to. I'm gonna skip it, but basically it just talks more about Max's feelings, and that's always nice. But I'm not feeling low tempo enough to indulge.
You can't get out now, Dana.
So here is the second half of the stupid friggin' puzzles. Okay. This is essentially a fetch
Welcome
quest.
to the real drama queens of
When you
Gotham.
build a fetch quest, do not make the fetch quest segue into another fetch quest. That is just the least interesting kind of design you can do, and it makes the player feel like they're not making any headway. Because they aren't. You've just invented a quest and then told them that that quest was meaningless. The other reason that this is such an incredibly bad quest is because it makes zero sense. Let's go ahead and see how little sense it makes.
Hey, Juliet. Is everything cool?
Oh yes, Max. I've locked Dana in the room because we're cool.
You've locked Dana in her room?
She's your friend.
How?
Friends don't sex with their best friend's boyfriend.
How did you
No,
lock
probably
someone in their
not.
room?
How did you find out?
Have you
Uh,
ever
why
been in
do
a
you
dorm where the
care?
door's locked from
Why
the
are you
outside?
even asking me? You never talk. Just zone out with your camera.
That's why I'm talking to you now.
What's my last name?
This is the other puzzle you can get right without actually rewinding, but of course you can also rewind.
Juliet Watson. Duh.
I'm flattered. I didn't even think you knew my
In case
name
you haven't
at
noticed
all.
yet, she's the same
Of
voice
course I
actress as
do.
Alyssa.
Just because I don't
A
talk
couple
lot
other
doesn't
characters,
mean
too.
I don't care. So, how did you find out about them?
According to Victoria, Dana would do anything to date a quarterback.
According to Victoria.
So now we learn that
Hmm.
Victoria
She saw
is
the text.
not just
And
mean
Zachary
to
won't
us.
answer
She's
his phone.
actually
Once
a
Dana
very,
admits
very
it, she
mean
can go
person in general.
Straight to hell.
Now, she's not really a villain. We're intended to be against her, but she's not really a villain. She's just screwed up. This is another example of the idea where the first time you enter into a situation, you get very limited choices and very basic feedback. We don't get to learn very much about Victoria on this first time through her room. Later on, we'll keep snooping through her room and we'll learn more and more stuff as time goes on. And that's interesting to me, because it allows you to reuse the same spaces, but let the player grow into them. That said, there are some things that would have been nice to know at this stage, not in terms of being able to short-circuit things, but in terms of just knowing more about Victoria as a person. Instead, the only real characterization we're given is that she's rich and that she hates Rachel Amber.
How insecure.
The reason she hates Rachel Amber is because Jefferson liked Rachel Amber. The reason she hates us is because Jefferson likes us.
I'll give Victoria. Boom. This is the email I need to show Juliet. Now I have to print this fast and get the hell out of here. This better convince Juliet that Dana is innocent.
Well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and play over here.
Let's play a
And
little
mess up
photo
these
Tetris and
photos.
leave Victoria a message. Let's move this here.
I don't know.
And this one
I think that a fair
there.
number of people did do this, but
A
it
pattern
feels
is
really
emerging.
unjustified. Anyway, let's take a photo of it. But because it's unjustified, I don't think I want to leave it like that. I prefer Victoria not think that we're creeping on her and going into her room and stuff like that. That's a little over the line, especially for a guy my age. So we're gonna go ahead and put those photos back the way they started. But we took a picture. So no worries. We still have the picture we took, because if you take a picture, it stays forever. It does not. So they've reinforced their whole, if you take a picture, things, you keep the picture twice now. So at this stage, you might be making decisions based on the idea that you'll keep the pictures you take, regardless of whether you rewind time. That's important.
Juliet, read this.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm an
okay,
asshole.
you
I'm sorry, Dana.
unblocked her
You
door?
are. And I hope so.
I don't know.
You really think I'd mess around with Zachary?
No, but I get stupid jealous. I owe you dinner. Still love me?
And you do my laundry.
Thanks, Max. You're like the Blackwell Ninja. Now let's see
Juliet's
what
a super
Zach has to
minor
say about
character,
Victoria.
but Dana
You
isn't
set
so
me
minor.
free.
I mean, she's fairly
Thank
minor,
you.
but she has a lot of
Warren's flash
personality
drive is
to
on
her.
my desk.
She's kind of a brainless stereotype, a cheerleader stereotype, but she's not portrayed in a negative way, and
The
she
flash
has a
drive,
lot
and then I'll
of
go see Warren.
details about her that are kind of nice. For example, she likes bad movies, but also things like the fact that there's this pregnancy test. Now, I think they moved how responsive this highlight is, because like 87% of people did not notice this according to the charts at the end. Verticality is a powerful tool. Even just a couple of feet up or down, and the player might not notice what's in there. So always keep track of how much verticality you have and whether or not things are being hidden because of it.
Max, that's mine. Thank you. You're not helpful. You're just nosy. I think you better go.
Well, that's okay, because we can control
Nice,
time.
Max. You hurt her feelings by being so damn nosy again.
Yeah, so we're going to be way more nosy, but in a way that won't hurt her feelings, right? Let's take the flash drive.
Must protect my precious so Max never has to chase it down again.
Hey, Dana.
So at this point, we're
Seriously,
allowed to
thanks,
bring up
man.
the fact that
I
we
can't
know that
believe
she's
Juliet
pregnant
locked me in
or
my
was
own
pregnant.
room. Real mature.
How did she do that? But we don't,
Dana.
We don't have any
I'm
reason
not trying
to
to be
bring it up,
nosy,
but we
but
sort of just
I heard a rumor
imply
about
that the
you.
whole school knows.
Who told you I was pregnant?
We're
Nobody
just not
important. I
not
just
great at
acted like
this.
it was bullshit. I just wanted you to know.
It's like a goddamn reality show around here. Can you keep a secret, Max?
Oh, sure, I can keep a secret.
Of course.
I was pregnant. Was.
Oh. What about the other?
Deadbeat dad? You can catch him on the 40-yard line this Friday. And it's not Zachary.
Who then? And you don't have to tell me. In fact, you better not.
It's
I like your
probably
spirit, Max.
the stoner jock that
Anyway,
was
you
out
better
on
get
that
that
tree.
flash drive
The
so
other,
Lauren has
the
an
only other
excuse
jock
to
in the
bug you.
game. Well, I mean, I guess Nathan counts, but I don't think it was Nathan. Now that we know that she was pregnant, a whole bunch of these options have popped up. Things that were already in the room, but we didn't notice the first time through. And I kind of like that. I don't care about Warren's messages. So here is Alyssa's first bullying.
Fuck this shit.
Ow! That hurt.
Damn, I better rewind.
Here we're introduced to the fact that some events don't have waypoints on our rewindometer. So we'll have to keep our eye open for things that can
Alyssa,
happen that don't
move your
involve
head.
us.
If you insist, Max.
Now that's what I'm talking about. I actually helped somebody.
Max, that was awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
No problem. You have quick reflexes.
Years of mad dodging skills. Bullies never change.
Yeah, he
That's
sure
why you
was
better
aiming
not.
straight at
They're
you.
smart. We should hang out more. Now I have to finish this stupid book.
You don't have to. It's a pretty bad book. Look, the broken window. We can take a photo of it. So, I've made a fairly big deal about the fact that we can take photos and keep them when we rewind time. And that's because of this upcoming scene, which is why I stopped playing the first time I tried to play through when the full game was out. Well, I'll show it to you as it happens here. So, here we see Kate and the security guard. We've already been taught to hate the security guard, and we've already been taught to pity Kate. So what are we going to do? Both of these options are valid. Taking a photo is obviously the first one we should do, though, because if we take a photo and then rewind time, keep the
You
photo.
can't fool me. I know everything about this school. I cover the waterfront. So you better figure out what side you're on.
Please, leave me alone.
So the joke here is, you don't keep the photo. At all. And later on, it comes up that you didn't take a photo. And you should have
Hope you
chosen to
enjoyed
take
the
a photo.
show. Thanks for nothing, Max.
Well, anyhow, actually, whether you take the photo
I should've
doesn't
stepped
the photo
in
doesn't
between
help.
Kate and
If you
David.
want to help Kate,
That
you
asshole
step
was
in
so
and
over the
screw the
line.
photo.
I could rewind and
It's not
try
like you're gonna
something
convince
different.
Jefferson to help her or anything.
Hey, why don't you leave her alone?
Excuse us. This is official campus business.
Excuse me, you shouldn't be yelling at students or bullying them.
Hey, nobody is bullying anybody. I'm doing my job.
No, you're not.
You're part of the problem, Missy. I will remember this conversation.
I am, in fact, part of the problem. But
Oh,
I'm
Max,
also part of the
that was
solution.
great. I think you scared him for once. I have to go, but thank you. It means a lot.
Anytime, Kate.
I like that.
I felt like an
Those sorts of
everyday
short
hero
conversations
helping
can
Kate,
sometimes
but
fall
now
flat.
Officer David
But that
Dickhead
one
got
was
me.
carefully staged. It was
Maybe I
carefully
should
blocked out
rewind and
so that
rewind.
you got some body language, you got an approach, and you got a retreat. And you got a kind of nice little shrug at the end. It was nice. Also, they don't force you to walk back through the campus. They let you just teleport or cut scene your way over to the parking lot. But they still show you where it is, which is also nice. This parking lot is pretty well done. I like it, but there are some ups and some downs to it. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about it. It's hard to do a level like this, a setting like
I'm
this.
glad
It's
I
just a
stepped in
big
that time.
parking lot.
Can't
So how
stand
do you
this
set it
people
up
being
so that
bothered.
it feels good? Well, one way to do it is you use an island, and you use the island to break up the sightline and the walk line. If this island wasn't here, it would be a giant empty space. Now, you might be tempted to just put cars in the middle, but an island, an actual proper gutter like this adds a lot more. It's not just some cars randomly parked. This is a fundamental addition to the parking lot to break it up. And even if there were no cars here in the middle, this would still break up the actual parking lot, and it would look pretty good. The other thing I like about this parking lot is the diversity of the vehicles in it. Not only are there bikes, but there's lots of little details all over. Now, if you're coming into the parking lot, you're probably going to come over here and notice the missing person posters
I
are
have to
not
go
just
find
up on the
Warren and give
walls.
him back his flash drive.
They're on cars and stuff, so someone is actively dropping these missing person posters off. And it's whoever runs around in this junky old truck. And if you're like me, you might be like, okay, well, I'll just memorize some of the details of this truck, like the skull and that little bobblehead. And we'll try and remember it and see who's driving it later. But there are actually a lot of vehicles in here that have a lot of things to say. The rest of them, however, don't make any sense. First off, this is Frank. Why the heck is Frank hanging out in the school parking lot during school hours when he knows that school security is actively looking for him? Whew, that makes no sense. But it may be that at the time that they made this, they didn't have that planned out that far ahead, and they didn't realize that Frank was already on the security guard's shit list. The other thing that doesn't make any sense is this car here. This is Nathan's car. I can tell because I memorized the license plate number. The problem is Nathan's car has been damaged. It was damaged 3 days ago, and it should still be damaged, and no sign of that is on this car. Now, these are obviously not things you're ever going to notice in your first time through, but I just thought it was strange. I don't know whether they didn't have it figured out yet, or what they were going to do. Just little details like that are fun to notice sometimes, even if there's really no merit to them. The other unique car is, of course, Warren's, which doesn't really come up, except that the lady who is flying the drone has a bit of a crush on Warren, and his car gets mentioned quite a bit in that context. Overall, I like the way that they've broken this place up, used a variety of vehicles and some interesting little details to try and get us to not feel that this giant empty flat space is a giant empty flat space. The last thing they did, and I talked about this in the Skyrim video, the Fallout 4 video, they shrunk the lanes. These lanes are much undersized. Even for one-way car lanes, they're quite small.
I don't get it. How could Zach and Victoria do that to me?
Hi, Juliet. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, Max. Sorry, I'm still screwed up.
Do you have lockjaw?
Sorry you had to find out about Zachary that way. Or anyway.
Better sooner than later. Now that skank Victoria won't be laughing behind my back anymore.
No, but she'll still
Have
be
you
laughing
talked
to your
Zach
front.
yet?
Mr. Badass Football Hero is such a chicken shit. He said he sexted Victoria as a joke.
Do you notice these
Ha ha.
camera tricks that they're pulling?
I think Warren wants your
These
attention.
conversations don't have
He
any
usually
blocking
does.
or anything interesting
Anyway,
about how
Juliet.
they're set up.
See you around, Max.
So what the devs did is they created a camera adjustment system that would automatically try to make those scenes a little bit more interesting by, I don't know if it's random or what, but by moving the camera around. And it's not badly done, but it's better to try and block your conversations and have some kind of passion in them, whether that's conflict or competing interests. Lots of ways to make that stuff interesting. So here's where we meet Warren, who's got the same voice as most of the minor male characters. And
What
the
up,
reason
Max? How are you?
Here's your flash.
he's got a
Thanks.
crush, as you can tell.
No problem.
The reason I never wanted to try and pursue
Check
any
out my new
romance with
wheels.
Warren is because
Cool.
I basically was Warren when I was Warren's
1978 to be
age.
exact. Now we can go to the drive-in.
Like
We're
Max,
over
Warren
6
is a
miles away.
huge poser,
Wrong time.
and
But then
they get along,
You
you know,
okay?
they get along famously, but I
21
don't have any interest in
day.
dating my
I
old
bet.
self, so I'm
I
not
heard
going
Victoria got a face full
to
of paint. I paid money
to start
see
up
a
with the
photo of
kissing.
that.
I also don't like Mr. Jefferson, so I'm not going to chase him either. Guess that leaves someone with her.
Really? I wish I would have known.
You probably could have raised a Kickstarter fund just for that one image of her covered in paint.
Had I known that. Anyway, Victoria took down my photo, so that drama ended well.
By the way, I saw Daniel's sketch of you online.
The
Not bad, but
these
I could do a
these
much
conversations
better
with no
job.
blocking, the camera tries to make them interesting, and you also notice that the characters gesticulate. Unlike, say, Morrowind or Skyrim, where they stand straight ahead and they occasionally raise an eyebrow, these characters do raise their hand up and brush their face, make body language gestures. It does make them feel a little bit more alive, but it's not a replacement for actually blocking out your conversations and actually having the characters have some kind of conflict or interesting thing happening.
You can draw? I thought you were blinded by science, not art.
We're establishing
Art
Warren's
is
character with these
science.
conversations.
Music is math,
Um,
etc., etc.
We've
I'd put
probably
Stephen
never
Hawking
even
against
realized
Picasso
this,
any
but
day.
Blackwell has a science division.
Hardcore.
It's just
So
kind of
you
crap.
must use a computer to draw.
Of course. I'd love to tweak one of your selfies with some cool graphics.
That might not suck. I'll let you know.
So, did you get a chance to check out the movie booty on my flash drive?
Yeah, here's where it becomes clear that as much of a poser as Max is, she at
Yeah,
least
thanks.
has some
That's some
taste,
cool shit
and
on
Warren
there.
does
You wanna share
not.
it to Twilight Zone? Which seems apropos today.
I consider myself a pop cultural pirate connoisseur.
That does sound better than thief.
Ha ha. Make sure you
So
watch
if you were
Cannibal
trying to
Holocaust.
win over someone who you wanted to date, and you gave them a mixtape of movies, would you put Cannibal Holocaust on it? I don't think that's something I would put on it, especially not for the first thing I want them to notice. I don't think that most people like movies that feature animal cruelty up close and personal. I
No
certainly
fucking
don't.
way will I watch that. My mind is twisted enough.
I laughed my ass off.
So you're sensitive.
Ouch, that sounds awful the way you say it.
But Faster
No,
Pussycat
I was
Kill Kill
impressed you
is
had
fun. If
Faster
you haven't seen it, you
Pussycat
should watch
Kill
it.
Kill.
Russ Meyer was a genius of black and white. Plus, babes with breasts.
Who would beat your sensitive ass down?
If I was lucky. Speaking of hip and fast, we should cruise out in my car to an actual movie this week.
Oh, painful memories of being Warren. Let's go ahead and
I need to
not go
talk
on
to
a
somebody,
date, but I can trust
just
myself.
To get it out of my system.
With
Dr.
time
Warren
travel
Graham
news.
is in the house.
Talk to
Tell me
my
to describe
18-year-old
your
self about time travel.
Tell me everything.
Why not?
For reals, Warren. This
So
is
now we've got a
between you
little
and
bit
me,
of blocking.
Not social media.
Don't
And
insult me.
this is actually a fun technique.
on.
What we've done
had
here,
this
what they've
incredibly
done here,
bizarro experience
is
in Mr.
they're no
Jefferson's class
longer
today.
facing each other, but they're instead
Life-changing.
facing out. Now, part of this is
Have you ever
because
had a
we're going to
dream
introduce another
so
character in a
real it was
moment,
like a movie?
but another part of it is
Max Caulfield,
when they're not
right?
directly facing each other, they're addressing
The
another
Jeffersons photo
situation
groupies?
I'm
rather
like,
than each other,
"Son,
and that's a neat little
What the
trick
fuck
that you can
ever.
use.
I know you like to take pictures, especially when you're hiding out in the bathrooms. You best tell me what you told
This
the
is Nathan
principal
again. He's the
now.
bully that we caught with a gun.
Answer me, bitch.
I told him the truth. A student had a gun.
No, you told him I had a gun. That's why he dragged me into his office.
And did what? Give you a stern lecture?
Nobody lectures me. Everyone tries, though. They try.
You should talk to somebody, Nathan.
Do not analyze
That's the
me.
only time she's said something that I really, really agree
Worry
with.
about yourself, Max Caulfield.
Aside from Akira and Twilight Zone being fairly good.
I could call the police.
Do it. The Prescotts own the pigs.
So here we have So here we have something that looks like it's not very carefully blocked, but it really is very carefully blocked.
Not the principal.
This entire scene has been done very carefully to allow all of the violence that happens to happen in the way that it happens.
Max?
But this,
Chloe?
No
that
way.
I don't like much.
You again.
The fact that she now recognizes Chloe, even though she was able to see her face just fine before. Well, it's okay. It's a minor point. So we now know who's been sticking posters of Rachel Amber up. And that's a good way to do it, because chances are high, if you were observing the situation, you were probably going to try and figure out whose truck this was. And now it's been served up to you on a platter. Now you'll notice that the light has become warmer. Red light is Chloe's motif. The warmer the light, it's actually more of a yellow or an orange, but the warmer the light, the more Chloe it is. And that's part of the theming they've got going on with the lighthouse, and the lighthouse representing Chloe and all that stuff. But the basic idea is that they make this amber light feel very homey.
So what did that freak want with you?
This conversation is also a little bit interesting. I'm trying to say too many things at once. We're going to get back to the light later, but this conversation is also interesting because Chloe is really struggling here. We don't realize it yet as the player, but Chloe has a lot of problems with what's been going on. Not only did her best friend Rachel Amber vanish 6 months ago, but her former best friend, us, vanished 5 years ago, days after her father died. So she's also in debt for thousands of dollars, and she's having a real rough time of it. And Chloe is basically a saint when it comes to dealing with us, because we have very few redeeming features at this point in the game, and she still manages to hold on to the old little spark of friendship. As a first-time player, you'd probably be like, Chloe's kind of being up and down about this, but yeah, she's being up and down about it because she's desperately trying not to get really mad at you.
Hopefully nothing after
You can see that conflict eking out into these conversations, but this also has a lot of warmth to it. And while this is a fairly basic conversation that's not blocked in any sort of meaningful way, you get this nice warm feeling. The voice actors are doing great. The conversation is interesting. There are some choices here and there. One of the things I like about this is you're given these choices in this conversation, but they're not good versus evil or ideal versus materialistic or whatever. They're just how you want their relationship to feel. And I think that's great, allowing the player to choose how the characters interact to some extent without having the burden of like a statistical light side, dark side measurement or anything. It also lets the player tell you how they feel at the moment if you really want to try and, divert them off and bring their tension level back to whatever you think it should be. Now, I am certainly not going to say only for Mark Jefferson because I thought he was a creep. Unfortunately, my character doesn't think he's a creep.
And my favorite teacher, Mark Jefferson.
So you came back to our
If you notice the shadows here on their faces, these shadows are kept throughout all of their conversations in the first day. It's hard to believe that that's accidental. I have a feeling that this half-on shadow for Chloe and then the lower half of our face brightly lit and the top half in shadow for Max, I think that must be on purpose because it happens too often to be accidental. And it could have some meanings. Who knows? Either way, it's something I noticed.
I'm sorry. I know things were tough on you when I left.
How do you know? You weren't even here.
I didn't order my parents to move specifically to fuck you over, Chloe.
You've been at Blackwell for almost a month without letting me know. Enough said.
Yeah,
I just wanted to settle
We're
in
kind
first
of
and
not very
be such a
nice.
shy, cliche geek. I totally would have contacted you.
But you don't use these sad excuses on Mr. Jefferson. Don't use them on me, Max.
We do actually use them on Mr. Jefferson. I really like this moment. It's very well done. They use light really well in this game. It's easy to accidentally get too into the blooms and the god rays, but if you use them right,
Man,
you can do a lot with them.
Wow, I
Oh,
haven't heard
God,
that one in a
yes.
while.
Not everything changes. Except my
I really
camera has
love
officially
these
taken
next
a
couple of
shit.
lines.
My step douche has a boatload of tools. Maybe you can fix it at my place.
I need very specific tiny.
This line is probably the
Word
best one in
alert.
the whole game.
My stepdad has a fully stocked garage, and he actually is a tiny tool.
I just love the delivery
Nothing
and the
else.
writing. It's just great. Most of Chloe's theming is red. She has bright, vivid blue hair, and some of the times you'll see things that are represented by blue. But for herself, red is the color. The light is red. The room is red. Even the truck is red on the front. Or on the doors, I want to call it. It's kind of brown color. And that allows us to have very strong color themes. And I mentioned before that the color theming in this game is pretty good. If you were to study a game, this is not a bad choice. And this room, I love it so much. This is just an incredibly well-designed room. But you know what? I've been recording for 40 minutes. Probably time to
My room
stop
looks
so
a
I
bit
can start up
different than the
again
last time you saw it.
from here.
It's cool. At least we can chill out.
This isn't exactly my chill-out zone. My step-fury.
We're doing
makes
a lot
sure
of
that.
character development
Come
for
in, close the
Chloe
door.
as fast as possible
Put
here.
on some music while I medicate.
And we'll get to that eventually, but first, I want to stop and then move on to the next episode.